All right, guys, what's going on? It's your boy Jaime Woods back at it with episode number 24. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm working out of my iPad today, so I don't have my computer, so I couldn't get like a nice intro or a countdown. So I had a little bit of technical difficulties with that, ladies and gentlemen. But anyways, besides the point, we have a very exciting interview today. It's going to be a great time for any of my folks that, of course, want to become digital nomads in a different country. Also, apologies for the AC on top over here making all this noise. I'm actually doing my side job today as we speak. Don't tell my boss what's going on, okay? As you guys know, or as some of you know, I do security on the side from time to time. All right, so just thought I'll let you guys know that. So if you see the environment and you're like, wait a second, what happened to the lights and everything else? You guys know why, okay? Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, make sure to check out my vlogs. I've been dropping a lot of vlogs. I dropped my Paris vlog yesterday. So check that out, Paris vlog, me going to the Eiffel Tower. Of course, the Rio de Janeiro vlogs, check those out. I got Italy, Rome vibes or Rome vlogs. So make sure to check those out as well. Of course, make sure to hit that subscribe button, the like button, notification, so that way you guys know when your boy's going live, when your boy's dropping, because I'm constantly dropping every single day. And of course, lastly, ladies and gentlemen, check out the merchandise on the Teespring website. I drop like every quarter of the year. I just drop hats and stuff like that. So make sure to check out those hats and tank tops and all that on the Teespring website. The link is in the description. And speaking of something else that's in the description, that's my Patreon. I just dropped a video yesterday on my Patreon. Very interesting video about racism in Brazil and if it's actually like true that Brazil is a racist country or not. Very interesting conversation. Of course, check that out on my Patreon. I thought the subject matter was too crazy. And of course, my guest at that time said that, hey, this is too crazy of information. We can't put this out there for free. So, of course, I put that on the Patreon. So make sure to check all that stuff out. But besides the point, ladies and gentlemen, let's get straight into the interview. Of course, my guest today, I've actually done an interview with her before in the past on Instagram, and we liked it so much that we're like, you know what, we got to do a round two, but this time we got to do it on YouTube. And this individual over here has a dating account. Of course, she's a dating coach and has been for a couple years now. She's doing her thing, amazing videos. She wants to help out men and make sure that they're in healthier relationships and all that. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, the person that I'm talking about is my friend Kat. Welcome. How you doing?
Hey, hello, hello. What an intro. Thank you so much. My pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me. And it was so fun to talk to you last time. So I'm really, really excited to be back.
Oh, I'm excited for you to be here because I thought our conversation was so great that I'm like, you know what? I got to bring Kat over here because another thing is I love your content and I feel you deserve as much exposure as possible.
Thank you so much for saying it. It's like it's something that I love doing, and I really wish that one day as more people as possible can hear what I have to say. That's my goal.
Yeah, well, I'm taking notice because every time I go on Instagram, I see one of your videos. I'm like, wow, like the editing, the way it looks, like you're really good with the videos, I must say.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
It's still a lot of room to grow, and I'm still working like every day to be better than I did before. But yeah, but it's fun. It's fun. It's a good thing to practice.
So, is there anything else that you want the audience to know about yourself? Like, they kind of know the gist that you're a dating coach, but is there anything else that you want them to know in terms of your content or the messages you're trying to spread or anything like that?
Yeah, so first of all, yeah, I do work as a dating coach, but I feel like I'm moving towards a little bit something more holistic that only dating and relationships. So I'm looking a little bit more into lifestyle and into habits, into schedule and like a little bit. I'm trying to go in a direction that's a little bit more wholesome and a little bit more like um, mentorship kind of style, because dating is only one part of life that it's very important. But I learned from my clients that if we fix only little something, like they get in dates, they go in on dates, still there's like other things that have to be fixed too, or like give like some guidance to help somebody to build the life that they want to have. And that's love a lot. That's why I love coaching, because the person, like, usually, like, you know, all the answers are already there. All you need to do is just get them out, and that's I love.
Yeah, and I really love your style as well, Kat. You have a really nice style in terms of your content and how you deliver your messages. I really do like it. So you said that you're trying to dive more into like wholesome content, and I kind of see where you're going with that because not that long ago, I actually had to go that direction myself because the thing was I was making predominantly dating content just a year ago.
Yeah.
And I felt like, all right, like what you said, there's so much more to life than just dating. And I also feel like I feel like there's a lot of sensitive people in this space, if you know what I mean, because you might be saying something and you might be saying it, you have good intentions behind what you say. You know what I mean? You're not trying to, have anyone hurt anybody or anything like that, right? But the problem is like, you're gonna have some sensitive people that might misinterpret what you say, and they're gonna make it seem like, oh, you're toxic or this, that, and then they're gonna try to bash you and comment mean things. And I didn't like that about the dating space.
Yeah, that's true. Like, are you talking about like some hater comments,
Hmm.
or yeah,
Yeah, just
something
people
like
that might disagree with what you're saying, hater comments, and I feel like that happens a lot with dating because,
that?
for example, if you talk about traveling, like what I'm doing now, people are going to disagree with you, but it's not going to be like you're not going to get canceled, you know. But I feel like in the dating space, you could say something that might rub off a certain group of people the wrong way, and
Yeah.
they're going to attack you. You know, like me personally, I used to make videos for men, and sometimes I would say things like, hey, you got to put yourself first. Like, even something as me telling a guy, you got to put yourself first, certain women would get mad at that. And they're like, what do you mean? They got to put me first. And, and they'll try to cancel me and text mean comments. And I'm like, come on, I'm just telling the
I,
guy to put himself first.
you know, you cannot win this game, because you say like, oh, you gotta put somebody first, and then I get comments, you have to put God first, and then like you like, I I wasn't talking about that, you know, like I
Hmm.
absolutely see what you're saying, and I feel like as stronger your ideas are, as more confident you get, as more people gonna see what you have to say, it's inevitable to get some hate and to get some people who will disagree with you. Even if you talk about traveling, if you just have no filter and you don't sugarcoat things, you will get some nasty comments. And it's just part of life. Like, I don't feel bad, or like, like I used to get like a little bit like, oh my God, again, like it's happening again. And now I just definitely do not care. Even my friends sometimes, like I would say something about, so I had this video that went they went like not viral,
Viral?
but it was going very fast, and then I had to like kind of like pause or do something with it, like because I was saying there that when women say no, she actually means yes but later, and that like killed it, you know. So of course I wasn't mean that like no doesn't mean no all the time, like, but what I meant is it's okay to push a little bit of somebody else's boundaries, no matter who is that person. Like, even like you say like this person, like, no, I never go to this kind of restaurants, and you're like, okay, but what about fusion, you know, like. So, and I do that with my friends, I do that with people I know, because I think like we are too rigid, and we're like, no.
Hmm.
And like my, like if I could have a chance to explain what I mean more, maybe those people wouldn't be so upset. Like even my girlfriends and like random girls, like I got so much comments about this
Your
video.
own girlfriends were mad at you?
Yeah, they were like, "Mom, you don't know what kind of people are there. You say no, and they don't care." And yeah, it's just crazy. But I think it was very good experience, because it made me feel even more confident in what I'm saying, because it did resonated with a lot of people, and they were like, "Oh, what do you mean? Like if the woman say no, it actually doesn't mean no." And I'm like, "Yes, exactly." Like, yes, finally people get it, because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes women just like moody, and I know that about a lot of people, and it doesn't mean no exactly. Like they can, if they say no a few times, they like, no, I'm not interested, not interested. Yeah, I understand. But after first no, a lot of men give up, especially nice men who like a little bit careful with ladies.
No, exactly. And that's the problem with content creating, especially in short format, because you can only fit so much information into a minute and a half. So you're not able to explain everything, like your whole point. So people like they're gonna see what you got going on in the video, and they might misinterpret that and come up with their own assumption of what it is that you're talking about. And then from there, they're gonna label you as, oh, you hate women, or you're a pick me, or whatever the case is. All this dumb stuff that they come out with, you know. But don't mind them, Kat. Keep doing what you're doing because you're doing a good job. But Kat, I actually want to ask you a couple things before we get more into the dating stuff later on. But basically, can you tell everyone where you're from and your humble beginnings?
Sure, yeah. I think my accent giving me away a little bit, but I'm from Ukraine, and I started working on a cruise ship, like to begin with, for a couple of years. And that was my kind of trampoline to go to US, because that gave me some experience of traveling, of seeing countries. So then I went to US, and I lived in US for 8 years, and yeah, now I'm back in Europe. That's in short.
So, out of curiosity, what made you want to move out of the U.S.?
Ooh, that's a big question. But so I lived only in New York, and it was very, very fun, especially for like first 5 years, 6 years. But I always wanted a little bit like lower, a slower lifestyle, less people, less activities. Like I wanted less things, less stuff, and it's just too big of a city for me. It was perfect in my 20s, but now I'm in my 30s, and I'm like, okay, have to think for, like, I don't know, something for my soul. I need like different pace. It's too fast. Yeah. So, and yeah, I think the city was the main issue. I wouldn't mind to live somewhere, maybe in California or Florida. It was nice. I did like it a lot, but I feel more in common with expats, with people who travel a lot. So New York was good for that. Like people are well traveled, but um, yeah. Also, my husband, he wanted always to live in the country where we can make money outside, and then
Mm-hmm.
we live in different countries where his currency is more, like we can afford more things in Spain versus New York. In New York, we were like, okay, it's everything is tough. Like like rent is expensive, food, and here we can do more with the money we make.
I like that because I feel like there's a lot of my viewers and people in the audience that probably are interested in that same lifestyle. Like they're probably like traveling around the world to figure out what location, what city, like best suit them for them to like live there long term. So can you talk about what your process was like when you decided? Well, first off, actually, besides the cost of living in Spain, because I know the cost of living in Spain is much less than in New York City where I'm at right
Yeah.
now, actually. But besides that, what were some other key factors that led you and your husband to move to Spain?
Mm-hmm. So we still not settled. We still considering other countries as options.
Oh,
So
okay.
we started our journey. We left New York in the end of November last year, and we went to Uruguay. We lived there for a couple of
Oh,
months.
wow.
Then, yeah, we went to Brazil, then we went to Peru, we came back to Brazil, and then we went to Europe. And
I guess you like Brazil.
I did. It was the best out of all.
Oh, no way. You thought Brazil was the best?
Absolutely best. I love.
And not that I'm surprised about that, by the way. Before my Brazilian people come at me, you guys know I love Brazil, but I just think it's cool that someone else agrees with me and thinks that Brazil is also a great country.
It is. It is. I think it's one of the most beautiful cities I've ever been. It's Rio, and I've been in many, many cities. So, yeah. So I think Brazil has like I left a piece of my heart in Brazil. I think everybody who goes there and have
Hmm.
these old experiences understands what I'm saying, because it's something special. Other countries are fun too. It's just very different, and all countries are interesting to visit. It's just not as much fun as Brazil.
Is it because of like the culture, the beach lifestyle? Is that like what you found most fun about Brazil?
Um, hmm, Good question. I think it's a combination of nature with views, because I love mountain, I love beach, and all these things. Like the people were super warm and friendly, and of course, it's like the food and amount of things that like to do, like touristy things, not touristy things, local things. I felt it was like very saturated. It felt a little bit like New York, but if you want it to be like New York, you can. Also, we went during carnival season. It was a little bit,
Ooh,
yeah,
interesting.
yeah, it was wild. It was, yeah, I've never experienced anything like that before, so it was special. But carnival is something else. I think Rio, when it's not carnival, is very different from Rio during carnival. So.
So you said you went to Brazil twice. So you went to Brazil, you went to Peru, I think you said, and then you went back to Brazil. So I'm assuming you went around the time it was Carnival, then you went back to Peru, and then you went back when it wasn't Carnival, or how did that
Yeah,
go?
yeah, absolutely. We flew a lot between Uruguay and other countries. So it was Uruguay first, and then Brazil, then Peru, and then Brazil again. But second time we went to Florianopolis. I don't know if you
Ooh.
heard about that city. It's
Oh,
very,
I definitely know about Florianopolis.
oh, yeah. Yeah, it was so fun. It was like a little bit off season. We wanted something more peaceful and quiet, still beach and nature, but not the same level as Rio, for example. But yes, it was one of the best time I think in Latin America. It was Florianopolis.
I have so many questions to ask you, Kat, because there's so many things you said that I'm like, man, I want to ask you about all that. But in terms of Florianopolis is a city I don't really speak about, or that many of my guests don't speak about.
Mhm.
And every time they do speak about it, it's never like really great things, which
Mhm.
surprises me because it looks like such a beautiful place. But in terms of the life that you had in Florianopolis, or the stay that you had in Florianopolis, would you say it was your favorite place in Brazil, or is it somewhere in the middle, last place? How would you rank Florianopolis?
Mhm. So
And
it
yeah,
depends what things are you looking for. If you want to just go to Brazil and see for like Brazil for what it is, like real Brazil, I think
hmm
it's Sao Paulo or Rio will be number one destination. But if you want something more chill and quiet, if you want more beach time, like some parties, there are like a lot of party scene. If you want nature and a little bit like less people, less tourists, there's like not so many tourists. Speed of the city is slow to compare with other, and it's just so relaxing. If you just want to unwind, you don't want to go crazy, this is the city for you. But if you're looking for looking like to explore Brazil, I think it's better to go to other cities that are a little bit more busy, because it's more like a beachy. It reminded me a little bit of San Diego in some parts, but
Yeah.
it's different. It's yeah, I cannot even compare because the cities are different.
So in terms of the cost of living in Florianopolis, would you say it's more expensive than Rio, or is it on par or below Rio
Mm,
in terms of cost of living?
no, it's cheaper. It's cheaper than Rio, definitely. Like I would not, I don't know exactly how much cheaper, but Rio is way more expensive. So if you want to cut down costs, and yeah, Florianopolis is a good option.
So
And
you've
then
been to Florianopolis, Rio de Janeiro, and where else have you been to in Brazil?
that's it. That's it. We would take a car and travel like a little bit outside of Florianopolis, but it's not far from it. So the same area.
Well, I give you guys credit for driving in Brazil
Yeah, it
because
was
it's rough out there.
hard. Yeah, it was crazy.
Oh, I would never drive out there. I'd rather drive in New York City over here than drive in Rio de Janeiro.
Do you drive in New York?
Occasionally, yeah, occasionally. I actually do have a car.
Oh, cool,
So,
cool, cool.
yeah, I do have a car, even though they recommend for you not to have a car here. But yeah,
Mhm.
no, that's great though. I'm glad that you got to spend a little bit of time in Brazil, that you liked it, that you actually been to several different countries. You said you've been to Peru, Uruguay, which is a very interesting country. I heard good things about Uruguay, by the way.
Yeah.
And in terms of Europe, Spain was the first country you guys have stayed in when it comes to Europe.
Yeah, I lived a little bit in Portugal too, so I can compare. I've
Hmm.
visited France bunch of times, Italy bunch of times, but I feel like Spain has it all. Like
Yes.
I'm kind of because there are like beautiful places, good things to see in every single country, absolutely. But if you want something that is like very like high level of life, like it's a rich country, like if you compare to even Portugal, so it's like good level of life, like a lot of things to do. The food is amazing. You probably know. Yeah.
The tapas.
Yeah, the tapas. Oh my God. So yeah, I would say like price and quality, Spain is very good for me. The one only one interesting, it's like not obstacle for me, but it is a little bit difficult that it's not as much English as you would want to be. It's mostly Spanish. Even like I love going to museums. I love going to some shows and places. But most of those things will be in Spanish, and you have to or look very carefully or be prepared that it's going to be in Spanish. Like it's different in Portugal. In Portugal, there is in Lisbon and Porto, there is more English.
Okay, and would you say that Spanish people, specifically in Valencia, would you say that they're welcoming towards tourists, or would you say that they're like kind of rude towards tourists?
Oh, people are so sweet here, like even in Valencia. So we've been in Madrid, and in Madrid it's a little bit different style of the city. It's closer to New York, lots of people, lots of tourists. Same in Barcelona, but Valencia and like smaller cities, they are more tourist friendly. They would like go out of their way to make sure like you are okay, they will smile to you, especially if you don't speak Spanish. I think it's a good thing here because they kind of like think that you are like you're a tourist, and they kind of think it's sweet, but it depends where you go. If you go in, I don't know, Barcelona, you're not going to get the same treatment. Of course, on a grand scale of things, it's not as good for locals because if the tourists come, they start buying here and the prices go up. So locals, they cannot afford anymore the housing on the rate it was before. But immigration is inevitable, and yeah, I don't think it's they do have this protest against Airbnb in
Yeah.
Barcelona and Madrid, so yeah, it's happening. But I feel like in Valencia for now, because there's no yet straight flight to Valencia, there is like you have to go to Madrid and then fly to Valencia.
Wow.
Why it's not as many Americans here? It could be
I guess it's a good thing actually, though. The more Americans, the more known it
prices go up.
gets. Yeah, and the
Yeah.
more prices go up, which is why a lot of locals in Barcelona are angry specifically because I saw a video of like people, Catalonians from Barcelona, going to like random restaurants and like shooting tourists with squirt guns. Like they would have like squirt guns with water and start squirting at them and stuff. Like get out
Oh,
of our country. Get, I don't know if you saw on TikTok, but it went
oh, wow.
viral.
Oh no, I haven't seen that. That sounds crazy. I got like the gun, the squirt gun in Peru, but it
What?
was
Someone squirted at? Well, that sounds weird, squirted.
squirted.
But
Yeah. So this kind of okay. It wasn't the squirted gun. It was
the water gun.
no. It was
No.
this tradition where
Oh, it was like
they have this
a BB gun.
no. So I'll tell you. Apparently, the time when I was there, it was kind of big celebration in the village, and all locals they would carry with them some buckets with water, and they would throw water on you with no warning. And it was pretty cold, like it was a cold weather, cold
My
day. It was
God.
in Cusco, in Peru. So we went there with my friend, and we were about to go to Machu Picchu trip. So we were like we're ready for 2 days hike, wearing all these things, like going there, and then we see all these people with buckets of water, and then we see all these people absolutely wet, like head to toe, and we were like, "What is happening?" And then this guy running behind me with a big bucket of water. Like my friend saved me. She was like pulling me away. I just got a little bit wet, but it could have been disaster because the bus is going on time. Like I don't have any spare clothes. Like I, it was so shocking, but it was not the bad thing. It was not like against tourists, like per se, but they definitely saw that I look like a tourist, and they wanted like to, like, I don't know, show that they are don't care about tourists or something, because that's the time when they can actually legally do that.
I don't know. That sounds a little messed up that they would do that to tourists. You know.
Yeah, yeah, because yeah, like I can see like why they were doing something like that, but it was mean. It wasn't nice. It wasn't like, like a splurge, like a small sport. It was just like a mean thing to do. Like it was like a revenge thing. I don't know.
Yeah, but I feel like this is a problem worldwide right now where there's a lot of massive immigration, like people leaving their countries to go to other countries. And the locals of the countries are getting angry about that.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we're going right now is there's going to be a little bit of friction in the world because the thing is that a lot of people want to leave their country nowadays. Like there's a lot of Americans right now that want to leave America. And the thing is, there's a lot of foreigners that don't understand why an American would leave America. Like, why
Yeah.
would you want to leave America? You know. But as you
Yeah.
said earlier, the fast-paced life here, like right now, I'm getting older. I just turned 30 not long ago. So I,
Congrats.
yeah,
Happy belated
you
birthday.
know, I've always dreaded turning 30 until I turned 30. I'm like, you know what? This isn't the worst thing in the world because when you turn 30, like you're still very young, but now you're making more money than when you were 20. So
Absolutely.
it's
It's
the
your
best of both
new
worlds.
20s with money.
It's
Yeah.
your new 20s. You're just as young, just as healthy as you are in your 20s, except you're making more money.
Yeah.
So there's more benefits to it. But yeah, there's mass immigrations going on right now. But do you predict that this digital nomad life, the digital nomad culture, do you predict it's going to grow and become bigger than what it is?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think it's going to be more nomadic people. It's going to be more traveling and moving around. And I do understand what local people feel. I can see where they're coming from. But in the same time, I'm like very individualistic person, and I think if you don't like something, you make a change. So, and they like, why me? But you know what? It's hard. Like, even like, I don't know, it's hard to say, but if I was an American, people coming from other countries, like I cannot stop the immigration. I don't want to be mean to other people. So I just do my best at wherever I am. And if I hate it, I just move. Why would you stay and suffer and complain? And people like do that a lot. They just complain and don't change anything. And that's what is interesting. Even in Ukraine, like there's a war right now, so you have a very
Hmm.
legit reason to leave. But a lot of people think that, like, okay, I can withhold, I can stand. But people who decided to live, like to escape, they still like they have to go somewhere. Like it's not like I don't know, they have this options and they can live anywhere. So I like back to your question. I do think there's going to be more people who want to leave US for some reason, political reason, any other reason. People gonna want to leave US, but a lot of people want to move to US too, and it's hard
Hmm.
because I've been there too. It's so hard to get a visa, to get the work visa, to get permit, to get this. So it was so much effort, and you like, okay, is it worth it for me? Maybe I can be better somewhere else. So it's a lot of things that you need to consider before making the move. Yeah. Yeah.
The way I view the United States right now is I view it as a revolving door. So what I mean by that is like people come in, people go out. People come in, people go out. So like what you were saying, there's a lot of people leaving the United States, but there's a lot of people coming into the United States. So United States will never have a lack of people because everyone and their mothers want to come to the US for the opportunities, and that's totally understandable.
Absolutely.
But the way I view the United States right now, and I've said this over and over, like, and don't get me wrong, before I say the comment, I want to say I'm very patriotic, even though I'm wearing an Italian shirt. But
Oh, I
I love,
haven't.
yeah, I'm wearing an Italia shirt.
Italian.
Italia, mamma mia. But listen, I love America. Okay, I love the United States of America. I have to say that before I say what I'm going to say, because people misinterpret things and they act like you're anti-patriotic when I'm not. I love this country and I love everything it's done for me. However, the
Mhm.
way I view America right now is I don't view this as a place to live long term. It's just not a healthy place to live long term because of the culture here, the work culture. They're working you until you're in the grave. Like if you allow them to work you, like if you allow them to stress you out, they will. And that's how it
Absolutely.
is. There's so many people that are working three jobs, two jobs to make sure they have a roof over their heads. Like they don't even have a social life. They barely see their family. That you barely even like in Thanksgiving, for example, it boggles my mind that people unfortunately had to leave halfway through dinner or lunch or whatever it is on Thanksgiving to go work at Best Buy or Target or whatever it is
Oh,
for Black Friday. And as they come on, like even in things like Christmas, like it's not even about celebrating the holiday, it's about gifts and going and shopping and
mhm.
getting a bunch of gifts. Like nothing here in America is about heart and family, if that makes any sense. Everything here is mostly about money and finding ways to get money out of you. So
Yeah.
the way I view America is I'm here to make as much money as I can and go somewhere else with it. Because I could
That's
live a way better life outside.
Absolutely. Yeah. When I actually, I'm a little bit shocked from the way like Spanish people and European people live. First of all, they take full month off in August. They just
Hmm?
like right now,
Yeah.
everything is closed. Plus, everything is closed on Sundays because it's a family day and it's very important. It's like religious day. Every Sunday, family day, nothing is working, no work whatsoever. Plus, okay, it's a thing for Spain, but it's like siesta thing, and sometimes they have fiesta holidays. So a lot of restaurants, they open at 11, they work until like 1:30, maybe 2:30, hopefully, then they close, then they reopen at 8, and then
Hmm?
they work for 2 hours. And I'm like, and then they Sunday off, and they're like, no, Monday, Sunday off. And I'm like, guys, where, when are you working? Like, what is it,
Hmm.
what is happening? And then it's like siesta one day, and you see this note, we are off like all August, August we going on holiday, and I'm like, okay, great. So they have very good culture about like not working as
Mhm.
much. I think like they maybe spend less, but they also don't think that work like they don't do like just 2 3 sittings like we do in New York. I used to work in a bar, like in a restaurant, and a bar too, and it was crazy. It was like so bad, like fast and like service, like okay, next, like it was so busy. And here somebody can come to the restaurant, get one sangria for 250 and sip sangria all day, and nobody say a word to them. Like they got sangria, they sing, sitting, enjoying their life, and fine. So such a different lifestyle and absolutely different values and yeah, like family comes first, like friends time. Like I feel it's way chill, more chill and easier, because in US it was like always like faster, you comparing yourself to your friend, to your this to, and
Exactly. Mhm.
in here it's kind of different. There are some very rich people who have like villas and stuff, and we're like, oh cool, it's nice to have this yacht. But on the average, it feels more like you don't need to go crazy. You don't need all these insane things to be happy. I don't know. That's how I feel. In US, it was a lot of external pressure. Yeah. So for me personally, but in the same time, I'm saying this, but when I was in Latin America, I did miss US a lot because things are so easy. Like the way everything is built, like you don't need to work too hard to get some things. You order something, it gets delivered next day. You get like things at night if you want. You get your ice drinks, like so much ice.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Thing is
Yeah.
working, like all this viral TikTok videos, and it's true. So many things are good in US, and US is a beautiful country. It's so much to see, so much to travel. But I 100% agree with you that you have to make your money in US and
Go out of there. And the thing is, you know what the problem is? There's just so much that you said that I want to comment on. But the thing is, once you, I made a video the other day actually. Let me start off by saying this. I made a video on Friday saying that traveling or dating overseas is one of the worst things you could do. Because the thing is, once you get experience to that, once you get exposed to that, it's very hard to come back to America and just settle for what you have here. Because the thing is, our money goes longer in other countries. The lifestyle is much more different than what it is in the United States. And you can probably find more success dating in other countries than what you do here in America. So I
that's
was saying, like, yeah, what were you saying, Kat?
That's true about dating, yeah. Um, I have a lot of girlfriends, and they like swiping. I don't know. We were swiping with my girlfriends yesterday, and she
In
was like, "Oh,
Spain?
American." Yeah, she's in Spain,
You
and
made friends in Spain?
no, she is.
Oh, she lives in Spain.
She came to visit.
Oh,
We went to the aquarium today, like the famous one, the most famous one in Europe, the Valencia aquarium. So and we were like swiping, and she's like, "Oh, he's American." So swipe, like like for her, it's like a fun thing, to go on a date with American guy. And it was so funny because it's like so many Spanish people, like other people, and like I don't know. I feel like it's interesting to go on a date because you're American. Like for a girl, it gonna gives you like something extra because in US you're one of the other guys. It gives a
yeah.
little bit of advantage here, because it's something different. Yeah. Yeah, about dating.
Yeah, because that's the video I made because the thing is, I want men to have the understanding that there are bad things about traveling and dating overseas, even though it may not seem that way. Because people are like confused, like, what's so bad about meeting beautiful women and all that and living good overseas? And it's because when you come back to America, you go back to reality, and that hits people differently. Like for example, in the beginning, when I first used to travel and come back to America, I used to feel so depressed But now that I come back to America, I feel more motivated because I want to be able to work as hard as I can to save up as much money as I can and go overseas more often, or possibly even live overseas, because that's where I'm happiest. I don't feel too happy here anymore, to be honest. I don't feel, and I don't feel happy at all, really, in the United States. Like, besides being with family, which makes me happy, and friends, besides that, I'm not happy here because I'm not able to live the life that I want here because the cost of living here is ridiculous, especially New York City. You're paying $2,000 plus for a shoebox of an apartment
Absolutely.
that has rats in it and stuff and all that, and you're just
Absolutely.
paying for the location. Like, a lot of the time you don't pay for the apartment in America, you pay for the location you're in. So the apartment could look like a shoebox, but you're in New York City. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So that's why they're taking so much money from you. Meanwhile, overseas you can find yourself a great spot for that amount of money, a really good spot. You'll be living like a king overseas. So I
Yeah,
feel like when you go through that and you date overseas and you see how nice they are to you, it's so hard to come back.
it is, but there are some disadvantages too, because, like, of course, you're gonna have family back home, you're gonna have friends back home. So the best thing is to find friends who wanna move to and move together if it's possible. If not, you will have to make some effort to make friends. It's great if you speak Spanish. If you don't, it will be a little bit harder. But still, there are so many activities like sports and signing up for things. There's a lot of opportunities. If you really want it, you're gonna make it, but you're gonna miss people, you're gonna miss certain things. But I feel so much happier. I was miserable, actually. I was recording this story, an Instagram story, like a year ago, a little bit less than that. And I was saying, like, I don't know if it's me or it's New York or something. The city is just crushing me. I don't know what's
Hmm.
happening. I just feel drained. And I was like telling to my followers that. And even though there are some good times and bad times, wherever you go, because you bring yourself with you. And if
Hmm.
you like overall miserable, the other country not going to make you happy.
Hmm.
But if you live in a place that is better for your mental health, for your physical health, eat better food, you get more sunshine, you get better sleep, you have less of the stress for the money. You can, if you want, make your like best life ever. You can be happy, basically in any country, if you have this like good conditions. And the money is important too, of course. It's like number one question. You have to, or make enough to live off your money here, or like I had a little bit of savings that helped me to do this little push. But then I'm doing my business online. Before I worked as a tech recruiter, and that helped me a lot. But now I don't want to do it anymore. I want to do fully coaching business. So yeah, and it's easier because the apartment, you can find something nice for like 1500s, like nice apartment. And yeah, and it's easier if you have a partner, of course.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I mean, that's one of the cons of living overseas, living in a different country, is you're leaving your friends and your family behind. But the way I look at it is, all right, as long as they're well supported, they're well taken care of, and I can see them once in a while, like a couple times a year. Like, I'll see them for Christmas, Thanksgiving, like the holiday season, maybe a birthday or two. I think that's good enough for me. Because for me, the thing is, I feel way happier overseas, and that's, like I said, because of the cost of living. Basically, everything you just said. Like, when you don't have to worry about finances so much, you're going to be happier. When you're eating better, when you're sleeping better, when the culture, you feel more connected to the culture. Like, Spanish culture, for example, is very similar to Latin American culture, because that's where Latin American culture comes from, is Spain,
Mhm,
which is why we all speak Spanish for the most part, besides Brazil, who speaks Portuguese
mhm,
in
mhm.
Latin America. Uh, so I felt very connected to that culture when I went to Spain, and I speak Spanish fluently. So for me, I was actually looking at Spain as one of the countries to move to because I love Spain so much, and I love Seville. I don't know if you've been to Seville yet. Have you been to
Not
Seville?
yet.
Oh
Mm-mm.
man, please, Kat,
I,
talk to your husband. tell him, hey, let's go to Seville.
He
Like
went to Seville.
he went to
I
Seville.
Yeah, I was
Oh,
busy with my work. I couldn't go, but he absolutely loved it. But he was there only 3 days, and it was super hot.
yeah, it's
The
super hot
good
there.
thing, they know how to handle heat. In Spain, they do have ACs, not like Portugal, and they do have a heat in the winter too. So it's actually very comfortable and refreshing. But what you was saying, Seville, like it's on my bucket list. I definitely want to go there. I just gonna wait when it gets a little bit cooler because right
Go
now
in
it's
September, October.
yeah. It's
Hmm.
absolutely my next destination. And I really love that you speak Spanish because I think for you, like, I don't know, I feel like it's 50% of the success of making friends if
Hmm.
you speak Spanish. There are a lot of Ukrainians and a lot of other groups of people that you can still join and you can be part of the I don't know, nomadic group and this group. There's a lot of nomads from different countries. And those people are fun because they've been in a lot of countries. They traveled. They like very interesting to talk to. The thing is, they're not necessarily gonna stay, so it's not like a stable friendship situation. But if you want to just hang out or play like the other day we went and play tickets to ride all together and people spoke Spanish but still it was fine because you know the rules you can play so yeah if that's the only thing that's holding you back the friends it's very solvable problem. Yeah.
So do you? What else do you suggest in terms of making friends overseas if you happen to be moving to a different country? You happen to be a digital nomad. Like, what do you suggest for them to make friends or how
Okay,
to make friends?
so there are like different things. If you just expats or you digital nomads, because nomads, I feel like they keep moving all the time. So you like have few months here, 1 month, and then you move. So it's more of it's harder to make friend as digital nomad if you keep moving. If you stay at one spot, for example, like at least like 6 months, or you decided you've traveled, you're like, okay, I love Portugal or I love Spain or I love certain country, I'm gonna stay here. So that moment, like at least you like, I don't know, sign a lease for 6 months or a year. Then you can start making friends because it takes a little bit of time. It's like dating. You need to find some activities that you like to do can be volleyball, can be any other sport. There's like tennis and board games, and there's so many fake Facebook groups or meetup events. You start going to those events, and then you go to local places, go to the bars, go to the coffee shops. You start seeing people. You rent the co-working space. They always have this meetups, events. People talk to each other, and that's the way you're going to make friends. You just expose yourself to people, and sometimes it turn out into dating too. So why not?
I also recommend for anyone that's watching that wants to become a digital nomad, one thing that I used to do when I used to solo travel was I used to go on Airbnb experiences and I used to do
Ooh.
events through them. So they would have pub like so let's just say you're into nightlife, but you're not trying to go to the club by yourself because I get it. Going to the club by yourself can be a little weird. So what I used to do was I used to go on Airbnb experiences and I used to see they used to have bar crawls, like group bar crawls and I did one for Madrid, Barcelona, Istanbul. Like I've done several different ones, and they're always great experiences. You only pay $20. You only pay $20, by the way, and you get free drinks in every single bar you go to. And there's like several bars you're going to. They're
Oh
taking
my
you to the best
God,
bars.
that's a great idea. I didn't even think of that. That's just
Now
such a
I'm
good
giving
idea.
you and your husband ideas now, so now you know
Yeah,
what to
I'm
do.
gonna go. I'm gonna check it out now.
Check it
Let's
out.
do it. It sounds
Yeah,
like a lot of fun.
Airbnb experiences in general has a lot of stuff to do.
Oh yeah, I actually did one. I did one in Uruguay. We went on this local experience of playing condombe. It's like a special drum, and like it's like festival-ish vibe. A little bit like okay, it's very different from Brazil, fine, but it's like drums, dancers, like salsa, and it's gorgeous. And we only were able to experience it as locals because we went to Airbnb experience. But I've done it only once and I forgot about it. I forgot it was great. And now you remind me, I'm like, oh, I need to do it more because this is the amazing way to meet some local people.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's one of the struggles of living in a different country is making friends and establishing a social circle. Because the end of the day, like we're social beings. We're not meant to be isolated in one corner. And that
Absolutely.
goes for anywhere in the world. You know, like right now, I'm not gonna lie to you. In America, I do feel isolated. And
Mhm.
I don't think it has really much to do with me per se. I think it has to do more with how isolated the culture is here. I feel nobody wants to talk to anybody. Everyone's like, all right, don't bother me. I'm too busy. I got things going on. Or if you do have friends, a lot of them go their separate ways when they get married, or maybe they're too busy to hang out with you. They got other things going on. But I feel like in the culture here in America, everyone's isolated into themselves. So that makes it harder to make friends here compared to a place like Brazil, where you can literally go on a elevator and you're making friends because
Yeah.
it's a different culture, it's a social culture, and the same thing with Spain.
Yeah, it's also important what kind of person are you. If you really love, like, because everybody needs different amount of socializing and a different amount of culture experiences with other people. My husband, he's more like you. He loves meeting people, talking to everybody. I do need friends, but I will be okay with like three, four good friends, and then I talk to people like in casual settings, but I do not need as many friends as he does, which is funny. But I think it's also you need to know yourself and you need to know how much socializing you want, what kind of society you would love. Because a lot of nomads they complain about Finland or Germany. They saying like all these people they want to go on a hike alone and don't want to be bothered for 6 days in the woods and nobody's like talking to each other, nobody's socializing. It's like so weird. And the Spanish people are opposite, like so warm, like Brazil. Yeah,
In fact, they might be a little bit too
too.
social. Like I remember when I was in Spain, and Brazil too is the same way. They'll approach you and give you a kiss in the cheek. Like
Yeah,
sometimes they might give you a kiss in both cheeks. And I'm like,
yeah.
man, I just met you. Like, I'm
There's
like, it's
this.
crazy.
Yeah, in Uruguay as well. Like men, like they kiss each other when they say
Yeah.
hello, and my husband was so shocked because this men they have a lot of hair, and my husband is Asian, and he was like, "Oh my God, I feel so much hair on me. Like it's how women feel." I'm like, "Yeah,
Mm.
it's like hair is something wrapping in you." It's hilarious, but yeah, you have to know yourself because some people do love being in the woods alone and don't want to talk to anybody, but it's totally depends on your personal preference. But if you talk about us in general, absolutely it's less socially like I don't know, it's not as easy to make friends in us too. It took me a long time.
Like people, like I'm the type of guy I like to be different. Like if I'm in the elevator, I don't use my phone when I'm in the elevator. Like I want to be able to confront social awkwardness, if that makes any
Oh,
sense. Because
wow.
most people when they're in the elevator, like they're like on their phones pretending to be busy. But me, I'm the opposite. I look at people when I'm in the elevator. And people think that's weird. But the problem is back in the 80s and the 90s, that's what people did. Like, you think people went in the elevator together and looked down on the floor back then? Because phones didn't exist. No, they spoke to each other. In a classroom, when I was in college and the teacher wasn't there, like everyone would be on their phones the entire time. Nobody would want to talk. But back in the
Mhm.
day, it wasn't like that. People would actually speak to each other. And the same thing happens in Spain and Brazil. So that's the problem is I don't like how antisocial or
Yeah.
how like everyone is here in America now, where
Because
nobody
it's so
wants to
much
speak to people.
easier. It's so much easier to just scroll or swipe instead of like looking around and talk to people because it's pushing you a little bit outside of your comfort zone. And then you like, oh, it's a little bit, as you said, awkwardness and little like, oh, I don't know if should I talk. Before it wasn't an option. Before you had to talk in order to get somewhere. You it was no internet, no direction. So and yeah, you were forced to be more social and it was like very valuable skill if you are social. But now things change a lot because of the phones and because of the internet. And yeah, and we kind of have to break the ice too, because people, they even so shocked when you start talking to them in US in elevator. They're like, oh, why are you talking to me, what's wrong? But
Hmm.
as you warm up, I noticed that first reaction maybe not as friendly, not always friendly, but then I feel like it's beneficial for both people in the end.
Yeah, and sometimes I go through reverse culture shocks where I'll be in a place like Brazil where that's perfectly normal. People have a whole full blown conversation anywhere. The elevator, it doesn't matter. Like people are perfectly fine with that. So I started getting used to that because I was in Brazil for almost like 2, 3 weeks. So I got used to that type of stuff. So when I
Mhm.
came back to America and I tried to do that same thing in America because I forgot how things were here in America, people looked at me like, "Why are you talking to me?" Like they didn't say
Oh,
that, but they gave me that look, like, "Why are you talking to me?" Like, and that's how it is in America, and that's why, like, as much as I like it here and the opportunities and how easily accessible everything is and convenient everything is, like, I don't like that. To me, I'm a social being, and I want to be in a country where other people are also social, like a Spain. Like Spain is a perfect country, and I'm so glad you're in Spain, and I'm so glad you're having a good time there,
um,
because Spain is a country that, let's just say, when you do have kids, when you do have children or whatever, I have children, whenever, the neighborhood is going to watch over that kid. Everyone knows each other. The neighbors know each other. They all look after each other. They all protect each other. It's like a community. Here in the United States, I don't talk to my neighbors. I hate my neighbors and they hate me too. So like it's a hate, like everyone hates each other here for some reason. It is the
yeah.
opposite overseas. So I don't like that. To me, that's strange. That's antisocial. And that's why I'm looking at Spain. Spain's cost of living is small. Um, Another thing about Spain is I know the language, so I can easily integrate myself into the culture. I already know how Spain is, how Spanish culture is by now. I've been to Spain twice already.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how much I love it. And I also think another aspect that I like about Spain is the dating aspect. Now, I never officially dated in Spain, but I had a lot of girls like approach me to talk to me that were Spanish or that were from a Latin American country. There was a German girl that lived in Barcelona that actually approached, beautiful German woman approached me to talk to me. At the time I was dating someone, I couldn't talk to her, but I was
Wow.
like, imagine if I was single in a place like this.
Wow.
So I feel like dating wise, it meets what I want as well. The food is great, as you said, the tapas, everything. So Spain, like you said, Spain has everything you want in a country. It has amazing beaches, amazing culture. People are barely working. They have a lot of free time. The siesta, you take a nap in the middle of the day, you wake up, you're cool.
And that's definitely rubs off the cultural, like, they feel more relaxed in life. So they are more open to talk to you, to other people. They are not as stressed out. They don't have a million things to do. They can be late or they can rush, but it's so not like, it's way less than in United States. And it's like, yeah, it's just like something different in the air that allows you to open up and be more friendly and just relax more, breathe deeper.
Hmm. Yeah, I think it comes down to that though, Kat. It comes down to the fact that Spain is about living life and family. Those are the two main things that I noticed, that most countries, like Brazil is another country that you meet a lot of happy people. And Brazilians work, I wouldn't say they work great jobs. I know a lot of Brazilians that work like terrible jobs, but they're still happy and they're happier than me. And I'm like, how are you happier than me? And I make good money. I'm in America. Like, how does that work? But the thing is, one, they live a fun life. They're always doing fun things, and they're close to family. And I think if you have those things, like, you're always going to be happy, because life is really all about that. Life is about having fun and family, spending time with family and loved ones. And that's what they do in Spain. That's what they do in Brazil, Latin America, and that's why they're so happy and healthy because of that.
Yeah.
You know, but a couple more questions, Kat. So because I want to dive into this. So basically, what steps should an American or a foreigner take in order to become a digital nomad and live in a different country?
Yeah. So the most important step, I think, is to prepare for this mentally, not even financially. You need to do your research. You need to travel a few times abroad. to see what you're getting yourself to, because if you pack everything and go, that will be like very big move. So I would suggest to do some trips first before you like date first before you marry, because you making like a big decision. And then if you do really like it, you listen some vlogs, listen podcasts, you learn about this lifestyle and what people say, how you feel. If you think that's a good idea, you want to try it out, I think it's important, or try if and find your job that's going to be online and will allow you to work overseas. That will be important. Or you have some money saved up, like one of two options, because it's there is no jobs here like in Spain.
Yeah.
If you do want to work like the job here, then you're not going to get like all the benefits you used to have before, so it's going to be hard. So the financial aspect is important, mental financial aspect. Then next step, you absolutely have to find a place to live, and there are like a lot of alternatives, not only Airbnb, there's like different websites where it's like more affordable prices, and like 1 year lease, like 6 months contracts that will save you a lot of money, versus BNB. And of course, like once you know where you want to go and you have your lease, you can like um, basically put your stuff in storage, stop paying rent in crazy New York, and just try it out. Because it might be not immediately like you, maybe first few weeks you get like euphoria, you get like, oh, everything is cool, but then like, oh, I don't have friends, I don't have this, I don't have that, and you might start thinking like, oh, maybe this place is not for me. But you need to spend some good amount of time here. You need to like get ready for 6 months to a year in order to understand the city, understand the country, and really really understand if you like it here or not. Because and make friends, of course, because you're gonna need people to spend some time with.
I love that. I have a question about the apartment searches and all that, because
Mhm.
I'm looking into getting into this lifestyle. And the thing is, I'm looking at the Airbnb prices like for a month, and I know Airbnb gives you like a discount when it comes like to like long term like stays, like if you stay there for a month and more.
Mhm.
But it's still really expensive depending on the city. I was
Yeah,
looking into Barcelona, and it was Barcelona was ridiculous, like
yeah,
to
it's
stay there for a month. Um, but what are, like you said, I think you were talking about other websites that you can use in
yeah,
order to rent spots. Like, are there like any other alternatives to Airbnb where digital nomads can go into to stay in the country?
yeah. The main one would be Idealista. That you do know Idealista. I'll send it into the chat. mm, just a
So
second.
Charles Jones says, peace, peace. The issue I have with migrating to España is that I would have to give up my U.S. passport, and right now, for monetary financial reasons, I can't. Wait,
Mm,
you have to give up your U.S. passport to live in Spain?
I don't, it
I didn't
depends
know
how
that.
long, depends how long you can. I think you, I'm not sure because I'm not from US. I'm
Hmm.
not sure that you have to do that. You can keep your passport. You just will have to pay taxes in US.
Yes,
So
I'm not trying to do that.
you don't, so many Americans live here. I don't think they did give up their passport.
Yeah,
Like,
so
yeah, I'm not sure about it because I'm not from US.
no
I'm
problem.
Ukrainian.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's interesting point over there, what you were saying. So now I'm gonna look into that website for sure and see what's
Okay.
going on with that.
Yeah.
Also, Charles
Ideally,
Jones says you can't be double taxed. So you can't be double taxed in Spain, Charles? Is that what you're saying? All right.
yeah, but you will have to pay taxes in US if you are US citizen. I think US will get you no matter where you go. But I know there's a way for people to set up some yeah, some accounts here, some not accounts, it's more like LLC or this kind of situation, and they are reporting the tax here, but then they reporting to US that they pay in tax here. So it's like system, but you definitely need the advisor to do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna get myself like a lawyer or someone that can advise me and all that, the ins and outs. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
cause yeah.
there's a lot of help here. Like, there's so many people who've done it already. Yeah, who know all the nuances.
All right. So a couple more questions. I do want to get a little bit into dating, and I know right now you're currently in a marriage and all that. But just from a third person perspective, would you say that dating in Spain, like from what you've seen, would you say it's a lot better than here in America from what you've seen from other people?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been talking to a couple of people here, and also, yeah, what our friends telling me. So in US, it's a little bit more like fast pace situation. It's too many choices, too many people. People move on very fast, both ways. And here, I feel like people give each other a little bit more of a chance to meet and get to know each other, and like a little bit slower pace of dating, definitely because less people. I don't know about better because I've dated in New York and I found my husband in New York, so it is hard for me to say what's better. Um, yeah, so it's complicated.
Yeah, because from what I hear, everything is more organic out there. Like I heard, like it is similar to the U.S. in certain ways, but it's not as extreme as it is here in America with all these movements and agendas, like the way it is. Charles Jones says, if you're making less than 120K and live outside of the U.S. for 11 months, all you have to do is file your taxes. Says it in your passport. Okay. Got it, man. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not an expert when it comes to like taxes, especially like overseas. That's a whole different thing. I'm not really too knowledgeable in, so I have to educate myself on all that.
Yeah, but
Um,
if you're planning to go back to US at least like for a month at a time to see the family and like Christmas, New Year's, like Thanksgiving, then you'll be like 2 months maybe in US. So maybe that will change things. So I don't know, just throwing some options. But yeah, about dating, I feel like it's a lot of things that do happen organic because people are more open to talk, and there's like they talking in the bar, they talking on the street, like in the park, like there's like a little bit easier to approach people, I would say so, because they just generally more open than US. um yeah, and like it's socially fine to do that. In US it's also fine, but I think it should be like the right time, right place, and some
do you
complications.
think that in order to thrive in the dating scene in Spain, that you would have to know some type of Spanish or be fluent in Spanish to thrive in Spain?
No, because if you speak English, a lot of people do speak English, and a lot of people want to practice English. So they will be interested to talk to somebody who knows English. They want to like practice language. So,
Yeah, because I've been telling people this because people don't believe me. That's why I wanted to hear it through you that's actually living in Spain right now. But people don't
it's
believe me when they say it. They said that, oh, Jamie, you're capping, you're lying. Like the Spanish women don't want us over there. And I'm like, yes, they do, man. Come on, man. You can't go to one place, one city, and say that it's like that across the whole of Spain. Like if you go, like I know Barcelona's expensive, I get it, and Barcelona, it's not a perfect city, even though it's my favorite city in Europe. But you can find so much success from being in Barcelona dating wise. Like I told you, I was at the club and there's one German girl. I didn't approach her. She approached me. A very beautiful woman, curly hair, blonde hair, German woman from Berlin that moved to Barcelona. Because that's another thing people fail to understand is let's just say it doesn't work out with Spanish women, like actual Spanish women. Well, guess what? You have women from all around Europe that migrated to Barcelona. That includes Ukrainians. I met a lot of Ukrainians over there. I met a lot of Germans. Germans love it out there too, and French people too. There's a lot of French people in Spain.
so international, absolutely. So if you, yeah, I feel like if you do want to meet like somebody like Spanish, you do need to speak the language, but it's not necessary. Oh, we have a
So
question.
he says, Charles Jones says, do Spaniard women date black men? I've yet to see that. Hopefully they do because they have some fine ass women. Charles, listen, man, because I'm gonna say this again, because there's a lot of men out there that have this misconception that Spanish women are, they don't want black men or don't want tan skinned men like myself, for example, or whatever. And bro, listen, um, they do. All right. I've had a little bit of success out there. And this is coming from a man that I was dating a woman at that time, so I couldn't do anything. But girls were out here talking to me, flirting with me. I'm talking about Venezuelan women that lived in Spain, Spanish women that were from Spain. Like I've seen Spanish women with black men dating black men out there. There was when I was in Barcelona. I tell you, if you guys want proof of this, just go to Barcelona. Go to a club in Barcelona as a black man, and you're gonna find a lot of success. Like the guys that I met that were black in Barcelona, they would have so much success, especially with the European women that were over there. Because believe it or not, Kat, I don't know, I might be wrong, but I was talking to some girls from Belgium and all that, and a lot of them like never really like dated a black man before, so they were curious about that. So because they were curious about that, they would try to talk to the guy, and the guy like he would have so many girls around him, he wouldn't even know what to do with it. So I would say, brother, that if you're a black man, tan man, white man, whatever, you're gonna find success in Spain because there's something there for everybody, whether that's a European woman, a Spanish woman, a Latin American woman, because there's a ton of Latin American women that go to Spain from Colombia, from the
Yeah.
DR. There's a lot of Dominican women in Spain. So
Well,
you have so much options.
that's true. I would say I would agree with what you just said. And also, like, you have to go and try it for yourself because whatever we say now, you don't believe us because you didn't get this experience yourself. But if you go, you try, you see, and then you're like, oh, okay, this worked, this like, I think it's really, really easier. I cannot say it's better because for me it was different, but I would say it's easier to approach women in Spain than in US.
Yeah, and guys, another thing I want to piggyback off of what she said is it also depends on where you are in Spain. So, for example, a place like Madrid, right? Madrid is known to have more, you know, snobbish type of people, I guess you can call them. And I like people from Madrid, but I do know because they live in the capital, like any other country in the world, people from the capital city always think of themselves very highly. So they can appear a little bit more rude, they don't want anything to do with you because it's kind of like similar mindset to here in New York City, to where people in Madrid they don't want to be bothered as much. But if you go to a city like a Seville, where it's more down tempo and the women are just as beautiful, maybe even more beautiful, in my opinion, in Seville, you're able to find more success in a place like Seville or Valencia, these other amazing cities in Spain. And in Barcelona, there's a ton of people. And Barcelona is a big city, and you'll find a ton of people that'll be into you. So yeah, man, you'll be good in Spain. But he also says if I want a German John, I'll simply go to Germany. Also, there are
Mhm.
a lot of English people there too. I mean, yeah, you could, bro. But the whole point of me mentioning German women in Spain is that there's diversity there. Like a lot of people don't realize how diverse
Yeah.
Spain is. So you're
Mhm.
able to get any girl that you want in Spain.
Yeah.
Um, and also, Charles says, I'm not talking about European or women from Latin America. I'm talking about straight out of Spain. Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying, my friend. I also mentioned women from other countries in Latin America because again, I'm trying to, you know, tell everyone that it's very
Mhm.
diverse. You're able to get success with them. But Spanish women themselves, of course, me as a Latino man, I get a
Mhm.
lot of success out there because Spanish women have told me themselves that they love Latino men because Latino men are basically Spanish men with swag, basically. So we're Spanish men with swag. So we speak the same language. We kind of have the same customs and traditions, but we have a little bit more swag to us because we dance, we do all sorts of stuff. Spanish men are more reserved. So I find a lot of success as a Latino man, but as a black man, for example, I've seen a lot of black men. In fact, there's a ton of black content creators in Barcelona that are making great content out there and having a lot of success. So that whole race thing that these other content creators are putting out there, that's BS. You can find a lot of success with Spanish women in Spain. Um, I've been to Madrid, dope city, but you're right. There's a sense of entitlement. Yeah, bro. So I always tell people, don't base your opinion about Spain on just one city. Visit the rest of the cities. Seville, Valencia, these other cities are much more different. But yeah, so Kat, one last question. I don't want to hold you for too long. I know I said an hour. We were going a little bit over an hour.
Yes.
But Kat, why do you recommend being a digital nomad? Like, why do you think being a digital nomad is a great lifestyle?
Mm-hmm. So, I did enjoyed it for some time, but I feel like it's easier to travel and then settle down and see it for yourself. So, um, honestly, I for me it was a little bit hard to travel all the time because I am more person of like I need the spot, I need a home, I need a little bit of relaxation and comfort. And when you on the go, we brought a lot of stuff. It was a mistake. So we've made a lot of mistakes. We didn't prepare very well because we brought too much things, and to be digital nomad in Latin America, it's more difficult than being digital nomad in Europe. But if you bring with you just one suitcase, and if you're ready to book like 1 month in different cities and just go from one city to another to explore and see what city you actually like, so then it's going to give you idea where you want to live for, like for the next 6 months or a year. So for me, it was always like the trampoline to find the city that I really like, because I cannot be always on the go. But I feel like it's so much opportunities. You see the places, you feel the places, different culture. I feel like every country makes you like a little bit um, bigger in the way that you
Hmm.
understand more. You like understand more people. You understand. You accept more things. So it's like definitely profound experience to see different countries and meet different people. And it's also a great challenge for your like for your personal growth. um, it's been for me because there's a lot of things that you don't get too comfortable because you are like where you live. Like I used to live in New York in one apartment, and I felt like I am so used to everything. Like I know where's this, I know where's that. Like you're so going into the same patterns that there's not so much novelty and expansion. And when you keep going, keep traveling, you're always like a little bit wired and a little bit. You have to figure out all these things, where to get stuff, like the food, where to live, like unpack, like and it's a little bit of the pressure, but also this pressure make you stronger. So I didn't know before how is it to be a digital nomad, how it is to move to different places. But now looking back, I see like how much this experience like made me like I feel like I live richer life
Hmm.
than
Yep.
before. Definitely. And also, you feel more relaxed if you find a spot that you really like. You're like, oh, okay, I want to stay here for some extended period of time. So you kind of feel like, oh, okay, so I'm gonna make my life around this decision, and I will make friends. I will do my best to make money here so I can, I don't know, pay all the bills easier. And yeah, so yeah, that would be my answer.
So there was never like a moment in time where you had a little bit of regret over your decision, where you're like, oh man, I should have stayed in New York.
Oh, that's amazing question. I think that's how you can tell actually if you're doing the right decision or not. Because I thought I will regret it. I was like, oh, maybe I'll regret it like a year from now or like 6 months from now. There was some hard moments. I'm not promise you that it's going to be all perfect, because there are some difficulties when it comes to transition. But I've never regretted this decision. And I've always felt like I still made the right choice. right choice to move, right choice. And that's a very important thing to understand, that even though it can be like hard, it can be like temporary discomfort, like you have to make more moves, more effort, but it's ultimately something better for your lifestyle, for your goal. Like it's better. It's
Well,
a way forward
to
for
be
me.
honest, Kat, I think you made the right decision for several
Yeah,
different reasons. You know, I can just tell you seem happy when you speak about Spain and the digital nomad life. You just like lighten up. Like I can tell, like you're happy, your husband's happy. You guys made the right decision, in my opinion, by going somewhere where the cost of living is lower, where you know the lifestyle, just what's it called, the way of living, I guess you can call it, is
yeah,
much better in Spain because it's more social, outgoing, beautiful culture. And then when you step outside, you see all these beautiful cathedrals. The
yeah,
architecture is really good, amazing natural food, you know, the better, healthier food portions, you know. So, and then if you guys do decide later down the road you want to start a family, whatever, Spain or wherever in Europe or wherever you guys decide to go to would probably be a great place to raise children, to have children, you know. So
yeah.
I think you guys made the right decision, in my opinion.
Yeah, thank you so much for saying that. Yeah, I think it is the right decision. And I don't think it's for everyone, because I know that people have different situations, different commitments. But if there is it's topic, it's interesting for you, if you're exploring it, if you're learning about it, like there is something in it for you especially. And that's, I think it's a great goal. It took me a while to prepare for it, because it wasn't like one day decision. We just get up and go. So we had to prepare a lot of things before we go. Like, I don't know, and the lease, sell all the stuff we had. So it requires some effort, but it's still good decision. And yeah, I think I recommend it.
Well, you're making me definitely, because I was a little bit on the fence about it because I've been thinking about it for the last 2 years now. I've been thinking
Mhm.
about it for 2 years, moving specifically to Europe somewhere. But of course, Brazil, my heart is in Brazil too. So that's another place I might
Yeah,
live there for a decent amount of time to see how it is in Brazil. But from this conversation today, it's definitely made me get over that fence where I'm like, you know what? I might just do this. You know,
yeah,
yeah. But Kat, listen, any final words you want to tell anyone here about yourself, where they can find you on social media?
yeah. Yeah, you can follow me on my Instagram page. It's Cat Laura Cat. Also, I will be doing more lives about dating is the European people, and dating in New York, how it's compared with dating in Europe. And yeah, if anybody wants to have a chat, please hit me up, ask me a dating question. Would love to hear. And yeah, it was really pleasure to talk to you, and it's so nice to be interviewed, like so many questions. I feel
And
great.
the crazy part is, I have a ton of other questions I have not even asked you.
Oh my god, we have to do that again. Great.
Yeah, no, no, I would love to have you on for a part two. And I think if we were to do a part two, it'll be more revolving around dating, since I
Mhm.
know you're a dating coach. And on top of that, we did talk about dating to an extent, but not as much as we should have because we're both talkers. So
Yeah,
I think the conversation was a very good one, and we couldn't get to all the topics that we wanted to get to. But
sure.
Charles says to do a part two.
Yeah.
I
Thank
guess he
you for
enjoyed
all
it.
the questions,
Uh,
comments.
yeah, yeah. So Charles, actually, to answer your question, my friend, because Charles, I appreciate you engaging, man. I really do appreciate all the comments. She's actually from the Ukraine, my friend. So she's from the Ukraine. She's living in Spain.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
but maybe one day I can get an actual Spanish woman in here to speak about that, so we
Yeah.
can clear the dust over here. You know, because there's a lot of brothers that think that you're not going to find success in Spain, which I think is negative. I think you'll find a lot of success out there in Spain, in my opinion. But
Yeah.
Kat, thank you so much for
Thank you,
joining,
Jamie.
and
Thank
make sure to follow her on Instagram. She does Instagram lives, all right? So she talks about dating. Make sure to follow her. Amazing videos, consultations. She does everything. So make sure to go ahead and follow her. But ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up episode number 24 of Real Talk. It's been a pleasure. We'll be back again on Tuesday with the Swedish Gringo. So that's going to be a good one. But guys, take care, and I'll see you next time.
Bye.